My guest tonight portrays Branch Davidian leader David Koresh in Paramount Network's six-part series called Waco.
Gary?
Oh, it's Walter. Gary's been reassigned.
Reassigned? Why?
David, I need to tell you that my bosses have run out of patience with you.
Every day, we try and show you men good faith, but all you want to do is fight. I'm tired. I don't want to fight no more. I'm alive. Everyone in here is alive. We've got children. We're American citizens. And you're doing wrong by God and by man. And every day, you're adding to your wrong.
David, you're the one who's doing wrong.
No, 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 no!
Please welcome Taylor Kitsch. Welcome.
First and foremost, happy birthday. I had to.
Thank you very much. Happy birthday to you too. Welcome to the show.
Than's for having me.
I'm a huge fan of yours. I have been for a long time, but I've never seen you in a role like this. For people who don't know, in the shortest way possible, what was the Waco siege about? What is the story really talking about?
It's an event in 1993 that was a cult, a Branch Davidian religious group that was in Waco, Texas, that basically ended up in a 51-day standoff with the ATF and the FBI and ended with it burning to the ground and 76 people dying in that building.
It's a tragic story, and it's laid out in this miniseries in 6 parts. And it's one of the most confusing stories on an emotional level, because you play Koresh, right? You play David Koresh, who was the leader of what some people call a cult, and then other people say, no, it was a religious organization.
Right.
You're playing a complicated character, and you're making us like him. How do you think you achieve that? Because he's not the most likable human being.
I had the same question in the start of prep. It was just because my first mistake in prepping for him was in the first few weeks where I was judging. Obviously, there's some reprehensible stuff that he's done or did. And once I stopped judging that and trying to understand why he did what he did or led the way he led and studied the way he studied, because through prep, you're listening to hundreds of hours of calls with Child Protective Services, with Gary Nesner, the lead FBI negotiator. And his crutch was the Bible. It was the unknown, and he could lay fear into that. And when you can't prove or disprove that, he has something to stand on.
Right.
And that's how brilliant he was with that. He was an incredible manipulator. He really gave purpose to the Davidians, and he was a self-proclaimed messenger of God. You know, so with that comes ego.
Right.
And you start to see, you see in that clip, by the way, that was the first time I saw that clip, so like everything
never
cut.
watched?
Yeah,
Oh,
I haven't
wow.
seen it, so that was interesting to see that.
You're like that all the time.
Yeah, totally. That's
intense.
Me in the morning.
I'm like, your character is so intense. And here's what's interesting is David Koresh, he's this character who is a great manipulator. And a lot of people don't realize to be a great manipulator, you have to be charming. You have to be charismatic. You have to be what many people would consider a nice guy doing really, really obscene and horrible things. But the people within his parish, many people would see as normal apart from the beliefs that they had.
Right, and I think that goes with the purpose. And I think in that sense, he could give that purpose. It really does go down to, like, he would tell you when to eat, when they're gonna have the sermons. And some of these sermons that not a lot of people understand, that they'd be an hour to 36 hours.
Wow.
So in the sense of testing these people, like they'd fall asleep, wake up, and still be in the sermon.
Wow.
And and when you're there in the compound, he's created this system of control. And this is a guy that comes from abuse and zero control. He left at 14, memorized the Bible by 17. So he has that over anybody on the planet. He could memorize, the Bible at any point. You could come out with that.
Which is something you did for the role as well, though. Didn't you learn scripture? Didn't you learn entire sermons? Like, you just had it around your house, right?
Yeah, so it was me and my best mate, and I don't come from a religious background, and it's just tough dialogue to begin with.
Right.
And obviously, you have to be beyond grounded, and if you see me second guessing on camera,
Yeah.
we're done.
Yeah, you can't be like, for God so liked the world?
Yeah.
Sort of liked it?
The kingdom of what is gonna come?
Is it Haven? No, I think it's Heaven.
Yeah,
I think
it's
Heaven.
Haven. Go with Haven.
When you look at the parallels between where America is now and where many Americans were back when the Waco siege happened, I found it interesting that many people were in a place of distrusting both the media and the FBI. You see these stories of people back then saying, we don't trust these organizations. We feel like they don't tell us the full story. When the story does come out, it disproves a lot of what they say. And that happened with Waco, that happened with the people in the parish, it also happened with people in the public at large.
Right.
Do you see how it's easy for people to begin to believe a narrative where they go, I don't believe anything that's happening around me other than what I know?
Without a doubt, and I think that in '93, that's what it kind of encompassed in that sense of just, the FBI was the media. So they did block off the press. There's a 3-mile perimeter around the compound.
Wow.
So from obviously the press to also, even when it was burning down, they didn't even allow the fire department to come and stop the fire. So you're dealing with, on both sides, you're dealing with somebody that's answering to God, and then you're dealing with the ATF who's answering to somebody that has an ulterior motive to the FBI. And so that's the amalgamation between it's a perfect storm, is what that was. And I think what I'm finding now, more than any other job I've ever done, and this is, I think, the 5th guy I've played that's lived, I find with Waco, people are actually, which I'm loving, they're doing their own research, they're formulating their own opinion on this, and they're asking questions. Instead of just coming and just making, or someone telling them their opinion, that's what I'm loving about this. They're asking me, they're challenging my ideals or where I'm coming from, and I love that, to have that conversation, and we should.
If there's one part of the character that stuck with you because you went so method, what would you say it is? Like one thing you couldn't shake off in your life?
I still don't understand why. There's so many questions that are still there because he's gone. So, he was shot in the head at the very end, and like to be a true martyr, I don't know. It's just like, it's tough I just can't understand why. Like, why didn't you, obviously retrospect with the, 21 children under 15 passed in the final fire, and it's just like, during that siege, forget retrospect, during that siege, why didn't you just let keep your own kids? I somehow understand that because he was seeding the 24 elders that will take over the world. That was the message. And diabolically, obviously, in my humble opinion, but it's like, I don't understand during the siege why they didn't go out in that sense. There are pieces, obviously, when the government knocks on your door with a 51-minute gunfight, there's no trust to begin with there for the next 51 days. So I understand why they didn't come out in that sense, but during the siege with the children, I think that's something that I'll always have questions about.
Well, it's questions that you have, questions that we have, but the show does a great job of posing those questions and creating a great story. You're amazing in it. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Waco airs Wednesdays at 10 p.m. on Paramount Network. Taylor Kitsch, everybody.